G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a laser pistol, not to be confused with a laser pistol. What you are looking at here is a Fallout 4 New Vegas laser pistol, which seeks to redesign and recreate the Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas style laser pistol that we see in those games, complete with custom animations, and it's even got its own little energy weapon ammo that is separate from the vanilla pool of energy rounds, because back in the Fallout 3 and New Vegas days, this thing fired the small energy cells, but when they streamlined and, if you could probably argue, dumbed down the laser guns in Fallout 4, they made them fire exclusively the fusion cells, which I think is a little bit of an upgrade. And I think as a concept, this weapon is interesting because it goes to show you what the design directions for the laser guns were back in Fallout 3 and New Vegas as compared to 4, because what you have in Fallout 4 is a modular weapon, a weapon that is capable of fulfilling any role that you want as a lightweight sort of medium power option that'll get you from early game to mid game fairly handily, and if you've got these things spec'd right, you could possibly use them in end game situations. See many a True Nerd survival playthrough for evidence of that. So you can turn this thing into a pistol, automatic, a rifle, automatic rifle, a shotgun, automatic shotgun pistol, sniper, whatever you need. But back in New Vegas and Fallout 3, you had a bunch of different laser weapons to fulfill those roles. So you had the laser pistol for your early game weapon that you'd only use possibly past level 10. Then you'd go over to a laser rifle, and if you wanted a shotgun, you'd get a tri-beam laser rifle, which is a totally end-game weapon that completely blows the power out of the water for the previous two laser guns that I've just stated. So it's an interesting thing. We've got a system now that I think is a lot better. It's a lot more fluid because you can just change it on the fly. But back in these days, if you've got a laser pistol and you want to keep using it in endgame, good luck, buddy. Even boosted with the energy cells that are max charge, this thing is not really going to do the job at that stage. So I think in terms of concept, this is kind of a step in the wrong direction. I actually quite prefer the modularity of the laser guns now, but it's interesting to see and compare what the laser guns were back then to what they are now, which is not to take away from the weapon. I think it's a very good looking weapon. The animations are really good, and we'll get to the weapon now rather than my personal thoughts and feelings about concepts and stuff. So right now we've got a standard grip. You can change it to a fold out stock, which apparently this thing is a stock and not a handguard, which I suppose you've got some sort of little hinge there to swing by, but I feel like that this little handguard thing is more of a safety feature. If you ram this thing into a low wall and you don't want it to discharge without your intention, then that's a good thing, a good safety feature, but that's just a stock, and I suppose it's telescopic because the tubing there would allow that to work. But interesting. You also get a little bit of an accuracy bonus out of there, so I suppose the stability of the weapon is improved with that, but it's just a little bit of a drawing animation change that you can do for a little bit of accuracy, so that's nice. And just like Fallout New Vegas, you can change what kind of energy cells this thing is firing. For now, the munitions doesn't actually support having the different charges of energy cells supported by different ammunition. Like, you can't actually craft yourself max charge load in this thing, so that's, I suppose, slimmed down and, well, does it make a lot of sense? That's up for you to decide, but it is nice that I can just use the standard energy cells and have it charge everything. Bulk ones won't decrease weapon degradation, they just make you have more ammo capacity, which might be useful for sustained fire, but honestly, you're giving up a lot of damage doing that. And for energy weapons doing 51 damage, that is what we call a no-no. Don't do that. Optimize is nice, but we're going to go for max charge. You don't have to worry about the weapon breaking itself while we flog some energy cells through it of the max charge, so that's fine. You can have standard sights, which are not really present unless you've got the combat sights for the gun runner's arsenal expansion on the laser pistols, sorry. You can have a little laser reflex sight on the top there, which is a little tiny baby one, hasn't fully grown up to be mounted on a laser rifle just yet, but that is basically the same as a vanilla asset there. There's a beam focuser, which says better range, accuracy, and recoil, and it doesn't actually improve those stats. Requires science rank 1 though, and looks kind of cool, I guess, so we'll throw that on. No beam splitter attachment is available as of this recording. Right now we can change the capacitor, so this is basically your standard receiver that you get on a standard laser gun, which you can throw overcharged in, which brings it to 135 damage, which is certainly better than 90. There's also options for the boosted photon agitators. That's the ones that'll increase your critical damage. Not super useful because it'll slow down your overall DPS, even though your individual shots will be more powerful if you're using criticals. You fire them so slowly because of the VATS camera, and it's all got to be cinematic, so just go overcharged and do that. And you can have a standard rear, which looks like that, an automatic override, which doesn't look that much different, or a recycler, which replenishes 1 energy cells for every 4 shots. So if you want to have even more ammo capacity on, say, well, you can't have an automatic and recycler at the same time, but if you want to save on energy cells, or something like that, perhaps for a survival playthrough where you don't want to carry as much ammo, then you can go ahead and throw a recycler on and get slightly more bullets in your magazine. An automatic override will increase your DPS, but damage per shot will be hit quite hard. Actually, 15 damage is not all that much, especially when we're talking about energy. But the DPS bonus, I think, would be pretty substantial. For now, we'll just leave it for a standard capacitor for maximum damage. And before we get out of here, let's do up our laser pistol of the vanilla game and see what we can do in comparison, of course. Righto, so I've done up this laser pistol complete with gunner paint because I can, and it does 141 damage, so it slightly edges out the damage that we get out of the Fallout 4 New Vegas one. Has a more accessible ammo supply and is easier to get. This thing is, of course, on leveled lists, and there's a couple of uniques around. I'll get to showing off where those are located in a second, but it looks like the standard vanilla laser gun, just tuned to being a pistol, a small pistol like the one you see right now, is a more effective weapon. That's interesting. Although I will say that this particular laser pistol here has a lot more range and is slightly lighter, so I guess it's got those things going for it. And you're only missing out on 6 damage, which is pretty much nothing, so I suppose on balance you'd probably take this one, but they are very close to each other in terms of power levels here. Welcome to the How to Get the Unique speed rounds. Number 1, we're here on the Pridwin next to Proctor Teagan and the Brotherhood of Steel. Obviously, you'll need to progress the story enough to get within the Pridwin, and being friends with the Brotherhood of Steel would be nice, but you'll find Colonel Autumn's laser pistol, which is a unique you can get back in Fallout 3. Completely worthless before the inclusion of Broken Steel. It'll do more damage to ghouls and super mutants, which is pretty based. Number 2, we found ourselves under the castle. This is the place you go through during the Old Guns quest, a map reference there, so you'll have to progress a little bit through the Minutemen storyline, but you'll find Smuggler's End on the table at the end of the dungeon next to the naked General McGunn, because I already stole his cool clothes. This one does extra damage towards humans, which would give it the Assassin's legendary effect. Number 3 is located right here in Scrap Palace, which is by the edge of the glowing sea. See, there's the edge of the glowing sea right there. And you'll find this particular laser pistol within the barn and not a warehouse, mod author, up here hanging from a gore bag in someone's greasy mitt. Nice. It's Pew-Pew, the one from New Vegas, the one you get inside the sarsaparilla thing of the dude who died in there because he killed everyone for the star bottle caps. Lessons learned, we've got Pew-Pew now, and which leaves us to just one more to get. Okay, number 4 is a little bit different. I'm going to leave this one to last because it's actually a replacer, because normally Protectron's Gaze is a weapon that it's currently on Isabel Cruz. It's a laser pistol, but it's got the rapid legendary effect under vanilla circumstances, but because we've loaded this in after we've already finished Automatron, we're gonna have to spawn it in with console commands, so we'll do that. But normally you'd get it by doing this Automatron quest line, and then if you kill her, you can get Protectron's Gaze for yourself. No, not possible. Yeah, I'm sure being shot in the head leads to death some of the time. Not for the courier, though. So here's the actual Protectron's Gaze, which doesn't look like it's any real difference, except for the energy damage being 144. That's pretty nice. Instead of this fake Protectron's Gaze that we murdered Isabel for, so Whoops, I guess I didn't need a killer at all. May as well have this back, and if you're wondering whether I had any use for you, I didn't. I already have a robotics expert. She speaks with a British accent and has a better iBot than you, so see ya. Okay, I've modified the laser pistols a little bit. I've just added max charge energy cells to Colonel Autumn's and given it a critical boosting capacitor. It's also automatic. This one, Pew-Pew, I've increased its rate of recycling by adding a recycler, overcharge capacitor to increase the damage, also a beam focuser, but there's also a sarsaparilla splitter, which I'm going to put on because it uses a sarsaparilla bottle as a splitter, so I have to, right? And it makes sense to where this weapon's coming from. Protectron's Gaze is an interesting weapon. I didn't realize that the Protectrons owned a little bit of the LGBT community, but here we are. This one has maximum damage because it does 144 with an automatic override on it with maximum charge energy cells. And Smuggler's End. I didn't mention this before, but this is the one you get from the safe in Outer Lions' personal place in Fallout 3. So I guess it's Outer Lions' sidearm, which does more damage against humans, which, you know, it's symbolic of the damage he did to the Brotherhood of Steel by changing their mission and you know, driving the outcasts out. But Outer Maxon fixed that, so that's fine. It's got a recycler and overcharge capacitor, and we've got the max charge energy cells as well. 175 damage is actually quite good. We'll be looking to use that against the gunners that we fight mostly. Alright, there's our 5 laser pistols. Let's get started. Righto, so I've decided that we're fighting inside Gunner's Plaza today because fighting 40 dudes outside would probably be a death sentence when I'm armed with such a low caliber weapon. But this is what this thing looks like in first and now in third person. We've got that reflex sight on the top to make us slightly more efficient on our VATS AP usage. I've got Colonel Autumn's one right here. Note that you'll hold this thing in one hand when you use it automatic, which is kind of cool, but 2 hands of course in third person like you would. This here is Pew-Pew, which, as you can tell, the animations, they don't work. They don't work in third person, so you can't use this thing in VATS either, so good luck. Next up, we have the, I think this is Protectron's Gaze, which is automatic with a beam splitter on the front, and we've got Smuggler's End, which is the most powerful one with the Assassin's legendary effect, so we'll be looking to use that one a little bit more against the gunners than I think any other variant, but we'll get started with our standard one just to see how we go, and we're doing 30 damage to that guy, 48 to that guy who's run a little bit closer. Might want to find some cover here and just sort of peek around the corner, and oh bloody hell, what was that then? Whatever that was, I just got hit pretty hard, or something staggered there. Not really sure what was going on. I guess we'll just run up. Oh, he had an ARX, he had a staggering gun. That's what got me. I thought one of them was carrying a heavy gun, but it doesn't. And if you saw when I got staggered, there was a notification at the top of the screen saying energy cell added. It just happened just now, and that's what happens. You just get extra energy cells added to your inventory. Not to the magazine, I don't think. No, it doesn't look like it. I was watching the magazine and not where I was aiming just then. Got the job done regardless. Anyways, this here is Colonel Autumn's one with an automatic capacitor. That guy down there's got a big gun on him. That's a very scary sounding gun. Put that down, mate. You're gonna hurt someone. There you go. And I guess we'll just continue clearing out these guys. It's a weapon with a time to kill that I'm not pleased. If I'm writing home about it, I guess I've survived, but it's still nothing to write home about it. And just like this weapon's leveled list integration fashion, as you can tell, this one had a focused fiery laser pistol. So, you know, it was a laser pistol battle and we won in the end. Mostly because we've got 1 billion times more health than a standard gunner, but it all adds up in the end, doesn't it? So, just like the version of Pew-Pew in New Vegas, this thing has only 2 shots on the magazine, but unlike the version in New Vegas, this thing doesn't consume 5 energy cells per shot because they just don't do that in Fallout 4. They haven't figured out exactly how to do that, or maybe there's something in the engine stopping them. But that means it's going to be a highly ammo efficient I suppose, solution to using this thing. Now, I don't really rate it with the beam splitter, but I can't deny that having a bunch of yellow beams, or brown beams, whatever, I'm colorblind, coming out of this thing, I think that's kind of neat, but we'll move on. Protectron's Gaze. Automatic and a beam splitter. Unfortunately, putting a beam splitter on a weapon with energy damage is a bad idea, because splitting all of that damage between the projectiles means we get 3 low amounts of damage as we shoot stuff. So even against turrets, it's taken a fairly significant time to drop them. But luckily for me, I get plenty of staggers using an automatic shotgun like this, so we can pretty much secure a kill if we just end up lighting someone up, especially at close range where we're guaranteed to... I was kicking the rifles all around the hole just then. But yes, when I was shooting those guys, we were getting plenty of staggers. Obviously, the projectiles firing from the weapon means we were getting many hits per second per shot, and they were pretty much staggering the entire time. So this is Smuggler's End, complete with the Assassin's Legendary Effect. Should we hit headshots, we can actually do a fairly good amount of damage with this thing. No excuse for missing shots, me. This weapon's hit scan, so absolutely trash aim display going on right here. I'm gonna blame the amount of smoke in the air. Look at that. Is that the laser gun doing that? Like, really? Seriously? The vanilla laser gun doesn't put up that much smoke, does it? That's weird. I'm gonna find a laser gun that these guys would have spawned with, shoot at a wall for a little bit, and compare. But maybe that could be toned down a little bit. I think that's a little bit silly. But there we have it. We've finished with the gunners down here, and possibly with our knees with that drop. But we survived with health left. Actually, never mind. There's one more. Getting sloppy. Okay, now we're done. We can move on. Okay, standard laser gun. Never mind, the smoke effect's still there. There's something else going on there. Is it the AMB doing that? Alright, let's kill some tiny little baby raiders, and we'll finish off by killing our Mirelurk Queen. And I picked Protectron's Gaze. I wanted Smuggler's End, so yeah. Let's switch to that instead. The Assassin's Legendary Effect. It'll be quite useful for this. So we'll try to get some sniping kills, get some nice little sneak criticals, because we've got a lot of range on this thing, and if we combine the sneak criticals with it, we can net ourselves quite a bit of damage, even though I probably can't see what I'm shooting at. Neither can you if you're watching on a phone. I apologize, but I guarantee you can see the numbers that I'm hitting them, so, you know, I'm dealing damage. And I don't mind the Smuggler's End variant for just, like, day-to-day raiders. I think there's probably one of the more energy weapon efficient or ammo efficient sort of playstyles you can get out there, because, you know, if you see a raider that's not that strong, you got a full rank of gunslinger and everything, well, it's a pretty damn good solution. Being able to shoot these guys in the face and kill them in one shot, very useful. What have you got? Very peculiar sounding weapon. It's a suppressed SVD. It certainly didn't sound like one of those things. And you can believe me when I say that, because I know I've been shot by a suppressed one in real life. I'll tell you, it doesn't make that sound. It sounded much more like a pipe gun to me. Anyways, so there's the Mirelurk Queen target. Let's switch over to Colonel Autumn's laser gun. This is why I choose a little babby vanilla game giant Cthulhu boss, because this wouldn't cut it against a creature with 30,000 health. We'll go for the legs here. There we go. Now we can bash it to death. I haven't shown off the bashing animation. There you go. Don't even have to expend ammo. We'll just beat its knee in, beat its kneecap in until it dies. There we go. It dropped a combat shotgun, which has a plus there, and I'm pretty sure that's just standard parts combat shotgun. Alright, conclusion time. It's a very well-made weapon for a purpose that it's punching above its weight in this video. Not against those raiders, but against that Mirelurk Queen and against the Gunners and Gunners Plaza. I think it was out of its league, but it's a good-looking weapon. It functions well, except for Pew-Pew in third person. And for early game solution, I think it's a fine weapon, but does it have a place as it stands in Fallout 4 when you can just get laser guns and modify them to whatever you need them to be? I'm not really sure about that, but adding a little bit of extra variety, maybe you've picked up some energy cells and you want to use them in a different gun than you'd want to change from a laser gun, even though they're basically the same, then I suppose I could recommend this mod. And if you do have a collection of the Fallout 4 New Vegas weapons already, then go right ahead and download it. It's a worthy addition to the collection, and if you're nostalgic for a weapon like this, then check it out. Recommend it. Link will be in the description if you want it. Should be an Xbox port. If there isn't, then I'm going to go to their houses and give them a stern talking to. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Also, did you know Captain Bridget's a mod herself? You can get her, you can tow her around. She's got a 10mm pistol. She'll kill everything for you. Good stuff.